The moment you realize that influence, attraction, and connection are not about words, gifts, or grand gestures is the moment you unlock a deeper level of presence. One sure way to make her pour water is not a trick, a game, or manipulation. It is a demonstration of energy, presence, and alignment with your own value. Women respond instinctively to authenticity, to a calm, grounded energy that signals strength without force. It is not about chasing, not about convincing, and certainly not about trying to perform for her. The key lies in becoming a person whose presence naturally elicits engagement, curiosity, and emotional response. When a woman pours water, she is responding to an energy she feels. She is reacting to a consistency that assures her, an awareness that invites her participation without pressure. She notices when a person moves through the world with direction, when they carry themselves with confidence and unshakable composure, when they prioritize their life, their goals, and their own fulfillment above the need for validation. That energy is magnetic. It pulls without effort and invites without force. You cannot manufacture this.
You cannot fake it with clever words or fleeting attention. What creates real influence is the consistent alignment of thoughts, actions, and emotions. When a woman senses that you are fully engaged with your own life, fully responsible for your time and energy, fully in command of your emotional state, she is drawn to participate in that energy. This is why clarity of intention and a calm, controlled demeanor are so powerful. The woman who pours water does so because she feels safe, she feels understood, and she senses that your presence is rare and valuable. It is a natural outcome of observing boundaries, mastering your own mind, and cultivating a life that does not bend at the whim of external approval. When you focus on depth over display, substance over superficiality, and consistency over momentary performance, your energy becomes magnetic. It communicates a message without speaking. I am complete, I am aware, I am steady. And it is precisely this energy that makes her respond without manipulation, without pressure, without effort on your part. Understanding this requires a shift in perspective. Too often, attraction is taught as a skill to be applied externally, as a formula to be followed.
But the truth is far simpler and far more profound. Influence is a reflection of self-mastery, not a product of persuasion. When you manage your emotions, maintain composure, and invest your energy into growth, curiosity, and meaningful action, women respond because they perceive a depth that cannot be faked. That depth creates trust and intrigue. That presence invites engagement. That steady, purposeful energy inspires interaction. The act of pouring water, then, is less about the water itself and more about the connection, the alignment, and the unspoken understanding that emerges when someone senses a rare and powerful presence. You are not chasing. You are not performing. You are simply existing at a level that naturally draws response. Ultimately, the secret lies in mastering self, mastering your energy, and moving through life with clarity and intentionality. The woman who pours water does so because she feels compelled by authenticity, steadiness, and a quiet authority that cannot be ignored. You do not create desire with words alone. You cultivate it through presence, through consistency, and through the irresistible pull of a life lived fully and consciously. When these elements align, influence becomes effortless. Attraction becomes inevitable, and engagement becomes a natural response to a life that is fully your own. Influence and attraction are not built on tricks, fleeting gestures, or rehearsed lines. They are deeply rooted in self-mastery, in the consistent cultivation of presence, and in the alignment of one's life with a clear sense of purpose and direction. At its core, influence emerges from the ability to govern one's own mind, emotions, and actions with precision, rather than attempting to control or manipulate others. True attraction is a reflection of inner stability, of a person who moves through life with intention, confidence, and a sense of completeness that is palpable even in the simplest interactions. When someone has mastered their own inner world, when they are aware of their thoughts, disciplined in their emotions, and deliberate in their actions, they radiate a quiet authority that draws others naturally, effortlessly, without the need for overt persuasion or performance. This kind of presence cannot be faked, cannot be superficially performed, and cannot be substituted with external signals or superficial charm. It is built through sustained effort in understanding oneself, acknowledging strengths and weaknesses, and committing to growth that is continuous and authentic. A person who has achieved this alignment does not bend their behavior to please or impress. Instead, they act in harmony with their values, their goals, and their own sense of identity. This consistency creates a magnetic energy that others sense instinctively. People, particularly women, are drawn to those who are centered, who hold themselves with composure, and who communicate through presence alone that their life is full, rich, and intentional. Attraction in this sense is less about external appearances or social tactics and more about the resonance of a life lived deliberately, where actions are congruent with words and words are congruent with inner reality. Self-mastery is not about perfection. It is about awareness, regulation, and the ability to respond rather than react. When someone cultivates this skill, they project an energy that feels rare, grounded, and dependable. Presence is a subtle but powerful form of communication. It signals to others that they are in the presence of someone who is fully themselves, who is undistracted by insecurity, and who is unshakable in their core sense of identity. This presence invites connection naturally because humans are wired to respond to authenticity and stability. Alignment with one's own life amplifies this effect. When a person is deeply invested in their own growth, their own experiences, and their own path, they no longer seek validation from others, and this detachment from external approval paradoxically increases their influence. It signals that they are complete on their own, that their energy is not dependent on fleeting attention or consent, and that engagement with them is a choice rather than a necessity. The combination of self-mastery, presence, and alignment creates a resonance that is profoundly attractive because it communicates security, competence, and depth without a single word needing to be said. Influence then becomes a natural byproduct of living in congruence with oneself, of embodying a life that others instinctively respect, admire, and want to be near. Attempting to create attraction through manipulation, performance, or external tactics is fundamentally shallow. It lacks the depth and sustainability that comes from internal alignment. By contrast, when influence is grounded in mastery of the self, in unwavering presence, and in living a life aligned with one's own truth, it is effortless, enduring, and deeply magnetic. People are drawn not because they are convinced, coerced, or entertained, but because they are sensing a rare authenticity, a steady confidence, and a magnetic harmony between inner reality and outer expression. This is the essence of true attraction, and it is the kind of energy that resonates, captivates, and inspires without effort. Stability, presence, and reliability, qualities that resonate deeply at a subconscious level. This is not about charm, flashy gestures, or words rehearsed to impress. It is about the subtle, quiet power that emerges when someone has mastered themselves, when their emotions are steady, and when their behavior is predictable in its integrity. Calm energy communicates that a person is unshaken by trivial drama, that they can navigate life's challenges without panic or overreaction, and that they carry a sense of inner authority that feels safe and trustworthy. Women, like all humans, are wired to respond to these signals because they convey security and confidence without needing to be stated. Consistency amplifies this effect, because when energy is predictable in its steadiness, it creates an unspoken sense of reliability. It tells a woman that she is not dealing with volatility or uncertainty, that her engagement will be met with composure rather than chaos. Grounded energy, on the other hand, conveys a connection to reality, to purpose, and to self. It is an energy that is anchored in presence, in knowing what matters, and in having a life that is lived with intention. It is magnetic because it is rare. Most people fluctuate emotionally, react impulsively, or allow external circumstances to dictate their inner state, and women notice this instability instinctively. When someone is consistently calm, composed, and grounded, it creates a contrast that is irresistible, a pull that invites attention, trust, and engagement. Emotional response is triggered because humans, particularly women, are sensitive to energy at an unconscious level. They feel the resonance of steadiness and respond with curiosity, openness, and attraction. This is why presence matters more than performance. A person can say all the right things, display charm, or attempt to entertain, but if their energy is scattered, reactive, or inconsistent, the words lose their impact. Calmness, groundedness, and consistency cut through superficiality. They communicate strength without aggression, confidence without arrogance, and assurance without the need to prove anything. Women respond to this not because of intellect alone, or because of physical appeal, but because the energy signals emotional safety. When a woman senses that someone can hold space, remain composed under pressure, and respond with intention rather than reaction, she feels drawn to engage. This engagement is emotional because it is not forced. It arises naturally from the perception of stability. Emotional resonance emerges as a woman mirrors this calm energy, as she feels the unspoken trustworthiness, the subtle control over life and self, and the sense that she is in the presence of someone rare. Grounded energy also communicates direction and purpose. A person who is connected to themselves, aware of their priorities, and aligned with their goals naturally inspires respect and admiration. This energy invites conversation, participation, and connection because it is compelling at an instinctive level. The combination of calmness, groundedness, and consistency creates a magnetic field. It pulls without pressure, invites without demand, and elicits emotional response without manipulation. Women feel it, react to it, and engage with it because it is aligned with an instinctive recognition of strength, stability, and authenticity. When these qualities are present, attraction and engagement are no longer something that needs to be manufactured. They are a natural byproduct of energy that is steady, purposeful, and deeply grounded. It is the kind of energy that commands attention quietly, communicates value without words, and encourages a woman to respond emotionally and instinctively in a way that feels organic, authentic, and compelling. Women respond instinctively to calm, grounded, and consistent energy because it signals a stability that is both rare and magnetic. This kind of energy communicates without words. It tells a woman that she is in the presence of someone who is centered, self-aware, and unshaken by the chaos of the outside world. Calmness conveys an inner order, a mastery over emotions, and a sense of composure that is naturally attractive. It is not about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unbothered. Rather, it is about managing one's internal state so that it does not fluctuate with every circumstance, every opinion, or every external pressure. When a person embodies this steadiness, women instinctively recognize it as a signal of reliability, strength, and emotional intelligence. Grounded energy adds another layer of appeal. It is the sense that someone is connected to reality, to themselves, and to a larger purpose. A grounded person knows what matters and is not easily swayed by trivial distractions. They move through life with a sense of direction and presence that others can feel even without direct interaction. Women respond to this because it projects certainty and stability, qualities that are universally attractive at a subconscious level. It is the combination of calmness and groundedness that creates a magnetic presence. When someone is both steady in their emotions and rooted in their purpose, they generate an energy that invites engagement. It is not forced, loud, or demanding attention. It draws people in naturally because it feels rare, safe, and compelling. Consistency is equally vital in this dynamic. Energy that fluctuates, that reacts unpredictably, or that is dependent on external circumstances, communicates instability and creates friction.
Women are instinctively attuned to this. They sense inconsistency and often pull away, even unconsciously, because it disrupts trust and emotional safety.
When energy is consistent, however, it communicates reliability. It tells a woman that she can anticipate interactions, that she can engage without fear of erratic reactions, and that her presence is not required to stabilize someone else. This naturally elicits emotional response. Calm, grounded, and consistent energy creates a space in which emotions are allowed to arise organically, where engagement happens without pressure or manipulation, and where attraction grows from perception rather than performance. Women respond emotionally not simply to what is said, but to the energy that accompanies every gesture, every glance, every interaction. When someone embodies calm and grounded consistency, the emotional resonance is immediate and instinctive. It encourages curiosity, deepens connection, and amplifies engagement. This is why presence matters more than words. A calm and steady individual communicates value without needing to assert it, commands attention without demanding it, and inspires emotional response simply through their way of being. It is not a tactic, a strategy, or a conscious performance. It is a reflection of mastery over self, alignment with purpose, and a deep understanding of how energy influences human interaction. Women sense this alignment instinctively and respond accordingly. Their attention, Their curiosity and their emotional engagement are drawn to someone who embodies these qualities because it represents security, intelligence, and maturity. It is an energy that is magnetic precisely because it is rare, authentic, and deeply resonant. Calm, grounded, and consistent energy becomes the silent language of influence, shaping connection and eliciting natural, organic emotional response. It signals presence, stability, and value without words, and it creates an irresistible pull that others feel at a visceral level, often before a single word is spoken.